Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Chelyn from 8-Bit Co-op and I'm playing Pillars of Eternity. This is a game that just has been released fairly recently and it is a throwback game to games like Baldur's Gate, other games that have that real-time RPG. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with building my character, and hopefully we'll be able to go through the first scene. The game settings are all right here. Everything from easy, which is minimal micromanagement and very forgiving, new players, to Trial of Iron, which is one save file, and if you die it's deleted and you have to start again. I'm gonna start on normal, which is strategy and efficiency, but it does forgive a few mistakes. So this game is brought to us by Obsidian Entertainment. It is produced by Paradox, I want to say. So graphically, I really have enjoyed this game. I did play a little bit of it so that I could get to learn the controls, so I didn't have to learn the controls while I was doing these videos. So
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
I personally like that it gave an introduction as to why you were starting, where you were starting. It gives me kind of an orientation. So this is the character creation. First choice always is male or female. Didn't change here. So okay, next, the different races, and there are 6 different races that you can choose from. Each race has a description and it has some attributes that are associated with that. Humans with their resolve and their might. Resolve helps your concentration and your will and deflection. The might helps with your damage and your healing. So humans, just like in any game, are just roundabout characters that are good at pretty much any of the classes. Alma, the mighty Alma, are the largest of the Kith races. Their main attribute bonus that you get is might. These are the ones that are going to be good at melee. They're going to be good at tanks. So that's going to be their primary class or role if you choose an Alma. Dwarves, they are get a bonus to might and constitution. They get a negative, of course, to dexterity. So your stealth classes are not going to be your first choice with a dwarf, of course, but you know, a melee fighter or even a priest would be, you know, a potential for a dwarf. An elf has high dexterity with your increase in your action speed with all attacks, spells, abilities. It contributes to the reflex defense. Your perception again contributes to that deflex and reflex defense and grants a bonus to interrupt. So your elf is going to be good for any of those. Oh my goodness, sorry, that's my dog in the background. I don't know, she barks at, I think, the wind. So I do apologize for that, but the elf is good for range class, stealth class, even like casters. The Orlan class, they're the smallest of the classes. They have a bonus to the resolve, which helps with the concentration as well as will and deflection defenses. They also have a +2 bonus to perception, which is your deflection and reflex defenses, and a bonus to interrupt, but they do have a -1 to might, so they're not someone that you're going to want to put on the front lines and wield melee or be tank classes. They're going to be more along the lines of your caster classes. Godlike, these are one of the most interesting looking characters that I've seen in a while. They have very specific physical aspects, and I'm going to show you the sub-races of those in a minute. But these ones have a bonus to dexterity and a bonus to intellect. And the bonus to dexterity, of course, will help you with your action speed with attacks, spells, and abilities, and reflex defense. And the intellect is the will defense, the durations, and AoE for all abilities and talents. So these are the ones that you can use for your stealth class, your ranger, your casters, ciphers, channers. So that's what each one of these races do. But because the godlike is so unique, I'm going to go ahead and show you what each one of the classes look like. Death godlike. These are the most distrusted of their kind. Their trait that comes with it is called Death Usher. And when they're Death godlike attack an enemy with 25% or less endurance, their damage is increased. And they have more of a purplish hue with a black color secondary. Fire godlikes, they often resemble hot metal, so that's like the red-orange color. And their trait is Battle Forged. When reduced below 50% endurance, they glow like metal in a forge, gaining damage reduction and doing a small amount of fire damage to any creature who hits them. Moon godlike. They are the most tolerated. Their trait is Silvertide. Every encounter when reduced below 75%, 50%, and 25% endurance, they generate waves of healing moonlight that restores endurance to them and their allies. And then there's nature godlike, so they look kind of like a tree with flowers and stuff. And these ones are Wellspring of Life that grants a bonus to might, constitution, and dexterity when their endurance is below 50%. So they're kind of a very unique looking class. What I'm going to pick is I'm going to go ahead and pick an elf. And elves, there is a wood elf, which has a trait of distant advantage against any enemy that is more than 4 meters away. Wood elves gain bonus to accuracy, deflection, and reflex. Or there's pale elves, which look very green. And it says all pale elves have increased burn and freeze reductions, or damage reductions. So there are 8 damage types: slash, pierce, crush, burn, shock, corrode, freeze, and raw. So that's too much for me. I have to go with the wood elves. I'm not a big elf person anyway, but I like being a caster. And then here's where you pick your classes, and when you go through these, each class that you click on has a description. They have a starting ability. They have skills that are associated with it, and then you have right here your starting stats, your endurance, health, accuracy, and deflection. So I'm trying to find one that I would want. I think with Cypher is one of the ones that's kind of new to this game, and their starting ability is powers. Cyphers can directly target allies and enemies with powerful soul-focused effects. These powers cost focus, which Cyphers build through use of their soul whip, and they get a +1 to stealth, lore, and mechanics. The other one that is new to this game is a chanter, and their starting abilities are phrases and chants and invocations. And this is somewhat like a bard to me, but their starting skills are lore and mechanics. I think I'm going to go ahead with a Cypher. I'm going to have to lose that look though. So, and here are the abilities that you can choose for, or the powers, pardon me, that you can choose from. You can pick 2. Antipathic field, antipathetic field, creates a toxic physical manifestation of the mutual antipathy between the Cypher and the enemy target. Okay. This piece right here is big. Anyone caught in the path between the two will suffer corrosive damage. One of the things to keep in mind is you can damage your own party in this game, so something to keep in mind. Eye Strike, Dazes and Blinds, Mind Wave. That is an AoE. Soul Shock. Transform the outer shell of an allied target soul into energy. Characters standing in the area around the target take shock damage. So if we have some people standing around them, they will get shocked as well. That's a fright and confusion, and that's a charm. So I think I want a beam, and I want to do the smallest amount of AoE because I can see where it would blow up on a party, honestly. That's an AoE. I'm gonna try... No, that's not a damage spell. That's not a damage spell. I'm gonna try that one. On your attributes, the gold star means it's highly recommended. The silver star means it's recommended. So I try to get those at least up to 15 to start. And then I'll put this last point in the Constitution just to give it a little bit more health. And then your culture, you have again some stat boosters, and I look for the one that helps my class. So this one has intellect, and intellect contributes to the will, defense, and influences duration and area of effect. So definitely for me. And your background comes with some skill adjustments. So I try to find ones that stealth allows characters to attempt to avoid being seen. Survival makes better use of the potion and items, higher the skill, longer duration. Lore, accumulated miscellaneous knowledge. Used to activate scrolls. Colonist is survival. Drifter is stealth and survival. Athletics. Okay, it doesn't tire as much. They can go further, fight longer. Can climb, swim, jump. Lore mechanics. Mechanics is disable trap, or open trap, find and disable trap, and set trap. Lore, stealth survival, athletics lore, athletics survival. I think I'm going to go with the athletics and the mechanics. Well, I'm not going to be doing a lot of hand-to-hand, hopefully. So I'm going to go with the lore so I can get the scrolls. Just a little bit of cosmetic changes. A little bit of head changes. Throw some different hair on there. Oh, that headpiece is rough. That's better. Okay. Okay. Huh, that's not far. Matter of fact, that looks pretty close. Other than the tiara, or circlet, or whatever. Okay, voice. I'm an aristocrat.
Leading the way. Onward! Easy now.
That sounds good. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So, let's see what this opening interaction looks like. The caravan master finishes addressing the group, his bushy red mustache and sagging jowls quivering as if for emphasis.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you were planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
He nods toward the looming black mass on the hillside.
Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who'd be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks. Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood?
At last, the caravan master turns to you, frowning as he looks you over.
Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards. Unless you don't drink water, course. In which case you'll be dead in a day. There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry. About the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
And he's talking to Sparfell, who is his assistant. And Sparfell nods and slides the worn bow over his shoulder. Where would I find these berries?
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
What are those ruins?
Nothing you won't see on half the hills of Air Glonfoth. Money to be made selling their knickknacks in Defiance Bay, if you don't mind getting stuck with Glonfoth and arrows now and again. They didn't build them, but I'll be the effigy if they don't watch them like a mother bear. Of course, all the ones around here have been ransacked 10 times over. Got nothing left worth half a pawn, so I hear.
Who did build the ruins?
Got different names for them. Settlers called them Ingwithans. Nobody that liked them enough to stop them becoming ruins, tell you that much.
Is it dangerous out here?
Not if you hurry about your business. And not if the weather holds up.
There's concern in his tone, but he does not elaborate. What kind of weather do they get out here?
This time of year, rain mostly, and wind. But there's a different kind of wind out here time to time. Locals call it a beawick, born out of the ether, the spirit's path. Never seen it myself, never cared to.
What are these huge rocks coming up out of the ground?
They don't got Audra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this. Goes deep like tree roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories. It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days. The soul butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things. I've heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it. Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
I'll go see about those berries then.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
He scans over the travelers, resting his eyes at length on a sturdy, armor-clad woman who has spent the journey's nights sleeping on uneven ground without blanket or pillow.
Kalisha. Kalisha!
The woman looks up on her own time. She needs to find some spring berries. Watch that she doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
Don't listen to her. You're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything. Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a beawick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
You heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
So, I think that that's a really good place to end my first Pillars of Eternity video,
Yes,
the character
I
creation. And we have two characters right now. There is 8-Bit and Kalisha, who we just inherited. This is what your character sheet looks like with all the stats that we picked, the active effects, the skills, and the abilities. This is where our health, endurance, our damage, accuracy, and then this is all our party records. And the same with Kalisha. So, at this point, I definitely bid you adieu, and I hope you come back for the next video where we will start our first journey. Thank you, and have a good day.